Namaste. How are we today? So I thought today I would run through a little demo on what a vinyasa is. So I know when I first started yoga, especially when I was attending classes, teachers would advise now move through a vinyasa. And I kind of was like, what is this? And in Hatha Yoga, when you sequence it in such a flow, a vinyasa is a movement. Now there's different ways that this can be done. And it's really important to know the difference between knees, chest, chin and a Chaturanga. So today I'm going to go through the differences because both are equally valid, yet they target different parts of the body. For me, personally, in a morning, I would practice a Chaturanga. Now Chaturanga can be done on the knees or as a plank. And then the knees, chest, chin is a softer version and can be really good for when you're working around the heart space, and also in the evening. It's preferred to me, but you can do it at any point. So to start, come into a tabletop position, and to move into a downward dog, if your shoulders are stacked over your wrist, just slightly move your hands forward, tuck the toes, and as if you're leading with the heart, bring your chest towards the quad or the thigh muscles, like so, and the hips really go high to the sky. From here, send the hips up, and just pedal out the feet just to move into your first downward dog. So first, we're going to run through a knees, chest, chin. In order to come into a knees, chest, chin, move forward into a plank position. Once you're in your plank position, your shoulders are stacked over the wrists and you're really pushing the floor away to arch through the shoulder blades. From here, lower your knees, your chest and your chin to the floor. This means that your toes are touching the mat, your bum is sticking high in the sky, and your heart space and your chin is touching the mat. You can slide yourself forward to lower your hips to the floor, leading with your heart, lift your heart up, drop the tops of the feet to the mat, draw your shoulders away from your ears, and with your hands underneath your shoulders, here is your low Cobra. You can push into the mat to rise your chest to come into a high Cobra. And exhale to release. Tuck the toes, send the hips up to the sky, draw the chest towards the thighs and come back to a downward facing dog. So you see that sequence that's just happened. We've moved from downward dog in a motion, a circular motion, and return back to a downward dog. This can be considered a vinyasa. To try that again, inhale to come forward into plank. Push the floor away. Exhale to lower the knees, the chest, the chin to the floor. Slide the body forward, leading with the heart. Let the hips come down to the floor. Draw the shoulders away from the ears and push into the mat to lift into high Cobra. Exhale to lower down, tuck the toes and push back into a downward facing dog. Lower the knees to the floor and send the hips back into a child's pose. Take a few breaths here. And when you're ready, you can come up to a seated position. So that first sequence, that was a vinyasa sequence using the knees, chest, chin. And it is really good to stretch out the back muscles. It's a small back bend. It opens out the chest. And as you slide forward, it really expands the front of the body. Now this pose in itself is really beneficial. If you're working towards building strength, especially in the arms, I would advise you to strive to using a Chaturanga. Now, a Chaturanga is where you move the body down to the mat in one motion. However, to start with, you can use your knees, and this in itself will help build muscles in your arms and your chest area. So come back into your downward dog, tuck the toes, send the hips high to the sky, spread the fingers wide and push the hips up to the sky. Inhale to come forward into plank. Push the floor away and exhale to lower the knees to the floor, but keep the front of the body, the torso, the shoulders, everything in the top engaged as if you're still in a plank position. Bring the elbows close to the body and without hinging at the hips this time, lower the front of the body as if you're going into a press up, down to the mat. Untuck the toes. Inhale to draw the chest up into low cobra. To push into the floor, lift the body up into high cobra. Make sure the hips are still grounded to the mat. Exhale, lower down, tuck the toes and push back into downward facing dog. Let's run through that one more time. Inhale to come forward into plank. Exhale, lower the knees to the floor, but maintain the arch in the upper back. Engage the lower abdomen, draw the elbows close to the body, and as if you're doing a push-up, lower the whole body down in one motion. Inhale to draw yourself up into low cobra, or push into the floor to high cobra, whatever your back allows. Exhale to lower down, tuck the toes, push back into downward facing dog. Slowly lower the knees to the floor and push the hips back, stretch through the fingertips, come into your child's pose and just rest here for 2 deep breaths. Once you're ready, you can work to sit up to a seated position. Now that is also considered a Vinyasa, but it is the initial step towards a Chaturanga. This method will really help build strength in your core, in your arm muscles, and it will be a stepping stone to doing full Chaturanga, which we're going to do next. Now, there's 2 ways to do a Vinyasa with a Chaturanga. The first is to lower the whole body down and then to the mat and then come up into your low cobra and upwards and high cobra. Or you can move through a Chaturanga and without the body actually touching the floor, you push yourself up into an upward facing dog. So run through this now. Tuck the toes, send the hips back high to the sky, come into your downward dog. Inhale to come forward into plank, stack the shoulders over the wrists, push the floor away, really push through the heels of the feet, engage your lower abdomen. First round, tuck the elbows close to the chest and lower the whole body, slowly, all in one motion, all the way down to the mat. Tuck the toes, plant the tops of the feet into the floor. Engage the lower back muscles and inhale to come up into a low cobra. Push into the mat to reach further into your high cobra. Exhale, release, tuck the toes and step. Push back into your downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward into plank. This time, lower yourself down all in one motion, but hover slightly just before you touch the floor. Tuck the toes and push the floor away to send your body up into your upward facing dog. You're pushing the floor into the floor with your tops of your feet. Your hips are above the mat and you're pushing the hands, pushing your chest
Exhale, push the hips back into your downward facing dog. Let's go through this one more time. Inhale to come forward into plank. Push the floor away. Draw the elbows close to the chest and lower the whole body down, hovering above the mat. Push the floor away, send the chest high. Push the tops of the feet into the mat, send the hips above the floor. And push back into your downward facing dog. Lower the knees to the floor, send the hips back and rest in your child's pose. Slowly come to a seated position. And I hope that's helped a little bit to understand firstly what Vinyasa is, and also the difference between knees, chest, chin and Chaturanga. If you're looking to build strength, work towards doing the full Chaturanga, but first by using your knees and coming down into a press up. This will really help build strength. If you want more of a chest opener or a back stretch, use knees, chest, chin. And some days you might feel in the mood for one and not the other. And it's just about honouring how you feel that day and just going and feeling into the flow. Namaste.